Good evening. We're going to call to order this meeting of the Richfield Housing and Redevelopment Authority. It's December 16th, 2019, and it's 7 p.m. Our first order of business is approval of the minutes of the concurrent HRA City Council and Planning Commission work session of November 18th, 2019, and the regular HRA meeting of November 18th, 2019.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Are there any concerns or corrections? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, and we have approved those minutes. Next is approval of the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve tonight's agenda. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, we've approved the agenda. Next, we're going to turn it over to Executive Director Stark for consideration of a transfer of funds from the Housing and Redevelopment General Fund to the Gramercy Tax Increment Fund and to the Interchange Tax Increment Fund for administrative expenses. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair Supple and Commissioners. At the November HRA meeting, the HRA authorized the decertification of the Gramercy and Interchange Tax Increment Financing, or TIF districts. As with every prior TIF district decertification, a thorough financial review was conducted on these funds. Among the findings of this review is that the administrative expenses incurred in these districts exceeds the cumulative 10% statutory limits. The excess TIF in the Gramercy district is $17,888, and the excess in the Interchange TIF district is $46,528. As a result, the HRA will need to transfer funds in from another source. Administrative expenses consist mainly of staff time, legal costs, and financial consultant costs. There are funds available in the HRA General Fund to make the needed transfers. The current balance of the HRA General Fund is approximately $1.2 million. The cause of this financial situation is the fact that the external financial obligations of these TIF districts have been met prior to the conclusion of the term of each of the districts. As a result, the HRA is obligated to decertify the districts early. Administrative expenses are disproportionately borne in the early years of a TIF district. Due to the early decertifications, however, there will be several years' worth of TIF that will have been foregone, resulting in a lack of a funding source to pay the outstanding administrative costs. In the case of the Gramercy district, 10% of the annual increment has been approximately $42,700 during the past 3 years. And for the Interchange district, it has been about $16,700 annually for the same period. If the HRA would have been able to keep the districts functioning for their full term, all of the administrative expenses would have been paid. In addition, the Gramercy district also has reached the 15% statutory pooling limit and will be returning $121,911 to Hennepin County in excess increment. This amount will be redistributed among the taxing jurisdictions, and approximately 1/3 will be returned to the city of Richfield. The Interchange district does have approximately $337,672 still available. Is this the? Yeah, and that number, we're still tweaking the number. It may be a greater number than that. That still could be used for pooling. When this district was established, the HRA did not foresee pooling TIF for the district. We have been working with legal staff and our financial consultants, and we've collectively concluded that the HRA can use that fund, those amount of funds, for use elsewhere in the Richfield redevelopment area, which is pretty much all of Richfield. So that was good news that we're going to be able to use those funds. So that's a lot of information. Essentially what it comes down to is, you know, we've overspent on administrative costs. You know, those costs, if not for these TIF districts, a lot of the staff costs would have been incurred anyway. It's, you know, the staff you pay to the HRA is kind of a fixed amount. We wouldn't have incurred the legal and financial analysis costs. As we say in the staff report, you know, those costs primarily at the beginning of a TIF district, they're the greatest, and as the years go by, there's less and less really to administer. And we were hoping that during the last few years of the TIF district, we'd be able to pay those off. My speculation is the reason we were able to pay off the obligations of the TIF district so early, I believe 3 years in one case and 5 years in the other, is that the market value increases in Ridgefield have been so dramatic that the TIF that came in for the amount not coming to the HRA and admin or pooling, that TIF came in so rapidly that we were able to pay off the external obligations early and left us kind of holding the bag on some of the internal obligations. And, the fact that we're going to have to send back some Gramercy TIF that we were holding off for pooling, that's, in a way that's unfortunate. We hadn't budgeted for those funds. Unfortunately, you have to keep pooling and admin separate. It'd be nice to just say, well, we'll take that money and pay for our administrative costs, but the statute doesn't allow us to do it that way. So hopefully this staff report and my explanation are understandable, but if not, ask questions and we'll try to answer them. And Community Development Accountant Mert Link is here with me to help me answer any of those questions. Thank you.
Did we have any questions?
I'm just curious on the historical context. What parcel went into tax court and got the tax assessments significantly dropped?
Yeah, so we don't really say in here what the interchange TIF district is better known as Dick's Sporting Goods.
Okay.
And that parcel and I believe the building were acquired by the Best Buy Corporation somewhere around 2002. They did appeal the taxes on that. That had a sizable impact on legal costs and financial analyst costs that we wouldn't have incurred otherwise.
And just, I'm curious, because I'm not sure of the dynamics and how it works, but from a procedural standpoint, in 2016, we had to reimburse Hennepin County for $330,000. How does that work procedurally? Why would we be owing Hennepin County that amount of money for an adjustment on a tax assessment?
Yeah, because we, and let's see if, sure. And maybe I'll preface what Mert has to say. It didn't work the way it was supposed to. In one respect, I'm not sure if it's in the county's statutes. Somewhere there's a rule in the county's books that says that if there is a tax petition in a TIF district, the county is supposed to inform the municipality so we can make adjustments. We did not, the county did not inform us on this one. They've done a good job on every other tax petition in a TIF district. They missed this one. We weren't aware of it, and so we continued paying out TIF to the note holder and to ourselves for admin and not pooling, but for admin, as if there wasn't a petition. So I think maybe that.
Well, actually, they did not inform us and had no way of informing anybody, any of the cities in Hennepin County, when anyone filed a tax petition. So we had continued to pay the increment, and then all of a sudden we get notice from Hennepin County that we owed them this $300,000+ that we had overpaid out the increment. So we were instrumental staff to work with the Hennepin County Attorney's Office to say, this just can't happen again.
Mm-hmm.
So we also, the HRA did pass a policy for all of the TIF districts to say, if you file a tax petition, we'll withhold the increment so that this won't happen again.
Right.
And then all of our new development agreements going forward address this, that, if you're going to file a tax petition, we have the right to withhold increment. And now Hennepin County and the county attorney's office does notify us on an annual basis of all of the tax petitions within the city. Because it can take up to 3 years from the time that someone files for it to be settled. So we could, so we've put things in motion for this not to happen again.
No, so we've got fail-safes now, but there's no recourse against the county
Yes.
for not giving us a heads up,
Yes,
so we could have done it in an
absolutely.
appropriate
Because,
way.
you know, because all of a sudden, we had this bill that we had to pay back to write them a check, and then we had to pay, essentially have had to pay ourselves back.
Right.
My guess is at least a few of you have seen former Executive Director Devich when he was angry, and the county heard from him, and he was quite angry with
Yes,
them.
yes.
So if there would have been any recourse, he would have found it.
Yes, yes.
Okay, I can imagine, yeah.
Yeah.
Great, thank you very much, I appreciate it.
So just to clarify for the people that are listening, when we're returning this money to Hennepin County, it does get redistributed back, and some of it will come back to Richfield, correct?
Yes, that's correct. It would come back to the city of Richfield.
Okay, so it doesn't necessarily come back to the HRA, but it will come back to the city of Richfield.
Correct.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions, clarifications? Did someone want to make the motion?
So moved.
Second,
It's been moved and seconded to approve the transfer of $17,888 from the HRA General Fund to the Gramercy Tax Increment Financing District, as well as to approve the transfer of $46,528 from the HRA General Fund to the Interchange Tax Increment Financing District. Any further questions or discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, we've passed both motions. Okay, we're moving on to HRA discussion items. Are there any items? I do have one. I've been contacted by some housing advocates that have been asking about whether we could have kind of an open forum type arrangement. And Executive Director Stark explained that we will be approving the bylaws in January. So I thought we should have a little bit of a discussion. Is that something we want staff to change in the bylaws to incorporate in our agenda? Or what are your thoughts on whether or not we should have a contingency for an open forum?
I love the idea of an open forum at the beginning of a meeting, much like do council or planning commission, to address items not on the agenda. I think it's a fantastic way to get people involved.
Yep, I agree.
And so you're fine with those, that it shouldn't be something on the current agenda, just similar to how they do it at the city council, that you can't speak to what we're currently talking about.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they can if it's an open right, but it wouldn't be.
All right, thank you. And then the other one, since this is December 16th and tomorrow there's a meeting of the Richfield Counts Complete Count Committee and Community Meeting. If anybody's listening tonight and you want to get involved with helping to make sure we count everybody in Richfield during the census, the meeting is tomorrow, Tuesday, December 17th, at the Richfield Room at the Richfield Community Center at 7000 Nicollet Avenue. And they're going to lay out strategies to make sure that everybody gets counted, because it really makes a difference. Each Minnesotan is worth $1,532 in federal funding each year. And if we don't count 1,000 people, that's an awful lot of funding that we lose out on. So if you're interested in helping, it's tomorrow night at 6 p.m. at the community center. Thank you.
And I can tell you that in the 2010 census, we were just shy in the census anyway, of 35,000. We were somewhere in the neighborhood of 34,900. Soon after the count came out, there were, during the recession, for kind of community works, to encourage community works, there was basically an entitlement grant for every city in the United States of 35,000 or more, of $50,000 per city. So we missed that by a couple of hundred people,
My goodness.
which we're certain we have that population. So it is important, and every person counts.
All right, thank you. Any other items? Well, then we'll move on to the executive director's report. Mr. Stark?
Just a couple of things. I believe you were made aware of this, but the development proposal for the City Garage South site by MWF Properties. They were planning on doing 52, I believe, units of tax credit housing. Their application for tax credits was not approved by the Minnesota Housing Finance Agency or Authority. What we were told is they were the first, after the cut, they were the first to miss the cut. The HRA's development agreement with the group goes through June. The reason it went through June was in the event that they did get approved, they would have needed a few months to go through land use approvals with the Planning Commission and City Council. So we'll be meeting with them in the next, now with the holidays, probably early in January, to talk about next steps. So I don't want to presume what those would be, but it's possible that they would either come back to you and ask to have that extended so they could apply again, or we might consider cutting that contract loose and trying something different. And then we do have, we've had a number of work sessions the last couple of months on development topics, and we're anticipating having a few pre-development agreements coming to you in January or February. One would be for the, and these are working titles, the Enclave development, which is affects the building that the Lynn 65 restaurant is in. Another is the Henley 2, which was the last work session at 65th and Lindale. And the third would be the bumper-to-bumper site at 6501 Penn Avenue. So you should expect to hear more information on those in January, February as we move forward. And that's all I have to report tonight.
All right, thank you. All right, is there a motion to approve claims?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the claims. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, we stand adjourned. Thank you.